everyone, my name is Phil and welcome to Phil Does 3D. I'm a multimedia and 3D artist and I stream on Twitch weekdays from 5 PM Pacific time in the United States, 10 AM in Australia and 1 AM in the UK. I hope you guys had a great weekend. We are working on an Art Deco building. We're going to be doing a cinematic in the Unreal Engine 4.16.2. We're going to do a fly through of the environment and then into the building and back out again. It's a building I created back in 2011, just the building, not the environment. We're redoing it in the new version of the engine because the original one was done in UDK, and I'm keen to see the changes in the lighting that Epic have made to their engine in the new version of UE4. This is the actual Art Deco building in Max that we've brought into Unreal. We're still working on some of the assets, but we've got most of them in. Let's, I think, start by, I'm going to run the video which shows the environment that we've already created for the building. It's just easier than me doing it in Unreal because OBS hates real time in Unreal. So I'll play the video. Now the video, the environment, these are just still shots. The environment will be fully animated in Unreal, so everything has wind animation, but you won't see it here. We'll leave that for the very end when we actually create the cinematic. So everything will be moving in the end when we do our final video. This is just to give you an idea of what the environment looks like. Excuse me for a sec, guys. Remember guys, if you've got any questions or anything you're not sure about, please feel free to pop into chat and ask me. If I can help, I'm happy to try. If you just want to pop into chat and say hello, that's always welcome. If you just want to watch, that's completely fine. So this is our environment. It's completed. So what we're going to do is we're working on the interior of the Art Deco building at the moment. Once we've finished working on the interior, we are going to do a final pass over the environment to make sure everything looks okay and there aren't any areas we can improve upon or pretty up before we start setting up our cameras to create our cinematic. What I'll probably end up doing is, as I've explained before, we'll use Unreal for all of our cameras, all of our camera movement and that type of thing. But what I'm going to do is record out the cinematic to the hard drive and do the final actual video edit in Adobe Premiere Pro, simply because that's what it was built for, video editing, and I'm familiar with it, and I'll get a better result I think in the end if we do the final edit in Premiere. So that's the plan. So this is our building in Unreal. Now for you guys that were watching last week, you probably noticed a difference here. This is because I've rebuilt the lighting in the engine, and I've also added reflection zones so that all of our assets here have proper reflection happening on them as they're supposed to. So last week it was all looking very flat, and that's because I hadn't rebuilt the lighting, and I don't generally rebuild the lighting on stream simply because it takes the engine here about a half an hour to rebuild the lighting, and that's really boring for you guys to watch on Twitch, so I do it off stream. So the lighting has been rebuilt. Now I've also added a couple of extra assets here. I'm going to continue doing it today, just around the door jams, just to add a bit more interest. If I can get to one here, that maybe down here. Yeah, just inside of our door jams here, I've added some decorative wooden pieces and columns. Again, that's just to add a bit more interest to the door. We're going to be doing the same thing with the windows here. I've got some columns I want to place either side of all of our windows. So we were working on our stairs. I think that was the last thing we brought in last week. So we will probably continue working on that now. And again, if this looks a little light to you guys, it's simply because my fog value is a bit too high in Unreal. If I turn my camera the right way, it removes the fog. That's just a setting I have to change at the very end. Once I've finished doing the interior of the building, I'll start adjusting the fog values. So if it looks foggy like that, it is. We'll adjust all of that at the very end though. So, now, I just wanted to... Hey, Sniper Echo, good to see you. I am doing very well, buddy. How about you? Did you have a good weekend? You get up to anything interesting? I see that Twitch were having some problems yesterday. The site went into meltdown. No one could watch any streams. I tried to watch a couple of streams myself and nothing would load. Twitch. No, but they got it back up again pretty quickly. Give them credit where credit's due. It would have been annoying though for any guys that were streaming yesterday and couldn't get on. So, we have, you're good, that's cool. You had a chill weekend, well that's always the best type. Unfortunately, I'm still snowed under with work at the studio, so all my weekends have been spent doing work, but anyway, that's okay. Like I said, I love what I do, 3D is my life, so, so it's cool. But I do want to start, I want to get out to watch a movie at some stage. I don't know what I want to see, but I'm sure there's something good to watch. Oh yeah, no, I wasn't streaming yesterday, Sniper Rick. Sniper Rick says he couldn't get to see my stream with the Twitch outage. No, I wasn't streaming yesterday. I only stream on a Monday and a Tuesday at the moment. I had to stop doing Wednesdays just for the next couple of months while the studio... while the studio's so busy, but no, I wasn't streaming yesterday. That didn't affect me. I was trying to watch a couple of streams yesterday and I couldn't because the Twitch site went down. But yeah, no, it didn't affect me as far as the streamer goes. I wasn't streaming yesterday, so you didn't miss anything. Yeah, no, I couldn't watch any streams, and I don't think any streamers could stream if they wanted to yesterday. For those few hours, the Twitch was down anyway. Such is life. And like I said, they got it back up again relatively quickly. You know, I've noticed... Yeah, it's Monday today, that's right. Yesterday was Sunday. So I don't stream on a Sunday. I lose track of the days myself, you know. It's a problem. I don't know what day it is half the time. Could be Friday, could be Saturday, could be Tuesday. It's Monday, but yeah. If it wasn't for streaming, I probably wouldn't know what day it was at all, ever. What was I going to say? Now, I can't remember. Yeah, I've rebuilt the lighting here in the level and just added a couple of assets. I just want to explain because I did rebuild it off stream. And when I rebuilt the lighting, obviously because we're in a building, everything turned black. So I had to actually work on my lights to actually get something you guys could see. So I just want to explain what I've done here. We have, I've added lights here above the paintings. They're just like a spotlight that spots the paintings above the doors. And again, that's just textured up in Substance Painter for our little light fitting there. And all that has is, it's got a spotlight. So, a spotlight that illuminates the painting. Okay? The same thing here for these wall sconces. Now, I have a light in the front, which is just a point light, to throw light around the room. But I've also got a light, if I can get up here and look at it, at the back here, which is a spotlight. And the spotlight throws light up along that column. So I just wanted to explain what's going on with the light here. So the light uses an emissive material to make it look like it's glowing. A point light at the front to throw light out into the room, and then a spotlight at the back to throw light up onto the column and the roof. And that's what we're going to be doing for most of our lights that we place in our scene. We are actually going to be placing table lights and things as well. So if I go down here and show you the lights that we're going to be bringing in, we have these two Tiffany lamps. Now I haven't adjusted the emissive on these yet, so don't judge them on the way they look at the moment because they're probably going to be too bright, but we will be working here with our lights that sit on tables as well, and they're just Tiffany lamps. So there's that one and this one. Okay. And they'll just add some interest to the lower sections of the level. I'll actually probably use some sort of light gel on the light to throw a pattern. I think that'll look really cool. We'll look at that though at the end when we start placing furniture and things in our level. So we have our reflection zones here to get the proper reflection going on our wall panels. Now, these panels here may be a little bit shiny. Might have to look at jumping back into Substance and knocking down the shininess, metallic roughness values on some of these. It just depends on. I'm going to wait until we get the lights done though, because as you can see here, it changes depending on how much light is hitting it. So I don't really want to make any changes, major changes to the textures until I get the lights placed in the level, and then we can do a pass to see if anything needs adjusting. Alright, so yes, we have our lights in, we have our reflection zones just on the two lower sections here in the corridor and among the stairwell here. I placed two. I haven't placed any anywhere else yet. So these are really the only two sections that are going to be lighting correctly at this stage until we get those reflection zones placed throughout the building. And we may need another light, a couple of lights in the corners here because these panels are coming up quite dark. But again, we'll look at that at the end when we start decorating, I guess you'd call it, the interior of the building. Let's finish our stairwell off because that's what we were working on at the end of last week. And all we have left to do, I think, is to bring in those metallic brass carpet. I don't know what you call them. Thanks, Sniper Echo. Are you still doing any work on yours, or are you just having a bit of a break from it at the moment? So Sniper Echo is working on an environment and an interior base for his level as well in Unreal, and it was looking very cool. Let's just rotate this around. We may have to adjust the size on this because I think we scaled our stairs up as well. Yeah, and again, these are just like, I don't know, they're like stoppers for the carpet, so the carpet doesn't ride up on the step. They just sit in the stairs on the top of the carpet. Yeah, we're going to have to scale it up. We'll just do a uniform scale. Wait. Yeah, no pressure though, Sniper Echo. Just work on your level at your own time. But yeah, it was looking really cool, so I'm cool to see it when you get a bit more done on it. Because like I said, guys, I love looking at the work that you guys do. If you have any work you want to show me, feel free to pop into chat. But don't, if you're not a regular, you can't post links in my chat. You need to either be a subscriber or a regular prior to me getting my subscription button to be able to post links in Twitch chat. But I do have a server on in the Twitch app. So if you download the official Twitch app from Twitch, I have a Phil Does 3D server. You can post links in that as long as you're a follower. You don't have to be a sub. You can post a link in my general chat on the Phil Does 3D server on the Twitch app. Like I said, you just have to be a follower. You don't have to be a subscriber. Subscribers have their own chat area on my Phil Does 3D server, so don't feel left out, subs. But subs can post in Twitch chat as well as my regulars. So regulars prior to the sub button. Sniper Echo says he hasn't worked on it this weekend on a small break. Oh, that's cool. Small break holiday until Wednesday. You can't wait to get back into it. Cool. No, it's good to have a break sometimes. You guys remember it was, I think, the end of last year or beginning of this year, I took a small break simply because I guess I have so much work on. I need a break to sort of chill out. If you don't take a break occasionally, you can burn out, particularly in design. It can be a problem, so it's important to take a break. You don't want to push yourself. You won't do good work if you're pushing yourself either. So, you know, it's a wise thing to take a break. Not everyone can work 24/7. We're not robots, so. Alright, I think that's okay. And I think the size is probably okay for that as well. But yeah, no, I'm glad you're looking forward to getting back into it, Sniper Echo. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Let's duplicate that. Now again, I could have added these to the steps before I imported them into Unreal, made it one object. But duplicating the asset is going to use less memory and make the engine run faster, so it's always better to do it this way, even though it's a bit more fiddly because you've got to do it by hand. If you're making a game, you really want your game to run as quickly as it can, so doing these things that are repetitive inside the engine by duplicating the asset is always the best way to go. Alright. And I am really impressed with Unreal's engine. They have improved the lighting quite a bit. I'll reserve final judgment until after I finish the complete level, but just from what I've seen so far with the lighting rebuilds, they really have improved it a lot. Now again, doing this in the top viewport would probably be easier, but it's less interesting for you guys to watch, so I do it in the perspective viewport here all the time. Sniper Echo says, you're right there, I found some really good textures and design ideas, which you've been, while you've been out about. Yeah, that's the other thing too. Yeah, no, I'm the same. Whenever I'm out and about, I spoke about this at the beginning of the year when I was working on that garden terrace. It's always, you've always got your phone with you, and your phone has a camera in it. So it's a good habit to get into when you're walking around or wherever you are, of taking photographs of textures, because you never know when you can use them. And like I said, because your phone has a camera in it, so you've always got a camera on you, you're ready to go. So whenever you're out and about, and you see something interesting, an interesting texture, an interesting building, an interesting door, anything really, just take a picture of it and keep it in a database on your hard drive, which is what I do. I have a folder on my hard drive here which has nothing but textures in it. If I can find it, where are we? And like you can see, I've got bark textures, sky textures, ground textures, grass textures, flowers, doors. I just put them into their own subfolder, and so I have a few thousand textures here that I use, that I refer back to all the time, including some that I purchased, but a lot of these are ones that I've actually taken with my camera. And so you just keep them in a folder on your hard drive, and you never know when they'll come in handy. I do the same thing with models actually as well, like doors and kitchenware and beds and all that type of thing. Because I work in arts biz, this sort of stuff comes in really handy. So yeah, no, by all, and like Sniper Echo says, taking a bit of a break and just wandering around can give you inspiration for whatever you're working on as well. But do remember to take photographs with your camera if you're out and about, because you never know when they'll come in handy. Okay, let's see, I wonder if we can do 2 of these at a time. As long as we're careful, we should be okay. No, this detailing is subtle, but because our camera will be swinging up our step here before we go up to the second level, we will notice them. Sniper Echo asks, do I use a lot of textures that were taken with my phone? I'd say about 50-50. I actually have a DSL camera as well, so if I'm going out to do photogrammetry work, which is where you take photographs of an object to turn it into a 3D model, I'll take my DSL camera because it's a higher megapixel count. But the camera in my phone, I think, is about 8 megapixel, so it's not, you know, as far as phones go, it's pretty average. And that'll give you really great textures. So yeah, maybe about 50% of them I've got taken on my phone, but if I'm doing actual photographic work where I'm going out specifically to do photographs, I'll take my DSL camera and use that. And I always use the DSL camera for photogrammetry. But if you've got a phone that has a high megapixel count, that's still fine to use for photogrammetry as well. 8 megapixels is a bit low. You really want a camera that's 12 megapixels or higher to do proper photogrammetry work, because the higher the megapixel count on the camera, the more detailed the texture, and therefore the better the 3D model you'll get from photogrammetry is. Because yeah, photogrammetry really relies on good photographs to get a good looking model. But for texture work, if you've only got your camera, then that's completely fine. And your camera, like I said, is going to be fine for photogrammetry so long as it's higher than 12 megapixels. So yes, about half of my textures were taken on a phone. Let's move that back just a little bit more. Let's get really bold and let's see if we can do 4 at a time. Sniper says he's going to do some reading up on how to take good textures. Okay, yep. I did explain, like I said, when you're doing taking a photograph of a texture, say you want to take texture photographs, it's always a good idea to take one standing back so you've got a wide shot, so you're not too close to the texture. But always make sure you do get up close to what you're photographing. So move in with your phone or with your camera to the texture to get a nice close-up shot as well. So you've got the wide shot and then you've got a close-up shot. Because you never know, you may want to take that close-up shot and turn it into a tiling texture in Photoshop for whatever you're doing and wherever you're going to use it. So it's handy to have that close-up, more detailed texture shot as well. But yeah, so I recommend a wide shot and then a close-up of the texture as well. But it really depends on what the object is you're photographing for a texture. Like if you were say this sort of wearing that I've got going on in the stair here, this was actually done in Substance, so this is not a photograph. But if you were trying to photograph, say, wear, the water damage or something on a wall, I would sort of take a photograph from here. And then I'd get really close to it and take a photograph like that. Just as an example of that type of thing. But yeah, it really depends on what the object is you're photographing. Oh, with a phone or a camera you mean? Okay. If you're using a DSLR camera, if you're using one of those larger cameras, then you can change your ISO value and your f-stop and all that sort of stuff, and that'll really depend on the time of day more than anything. Generally you don't have to mess with it too much though, and with your phone, of course. I'm not sure if you can change the f-stop or anything on a camera phone. You may be able to with the right app. Generally though, you don't need to, as long as you get good lighting. You don't want a photograph that's too dark. You also want to try and avoid taking photographs for textures that are shadowed. Like when I do my photogrammetry work, the photos that I take, I can really only take when it's cloudy. So no direct sunlight. It's sort of like a cloudy day where the sun can't get through the cloud. So all the light has like an even look to it. That's really the only time, the best time to do photogrammetry work. Because you don't want any shadowing happening on the object that you're photographing. And textures are the same sort of thing, really. Best to take photos for textures or photogrammetry when it's cloudy, where the sun isn't directly shining. Not raining, of course, but cloudy. Yeah, simply because otherwise the shadows are going to be baked into the texture or into the model, and that's not good. You don't really want that. I will do a stream on photogrammetry at some stage. I did tell you guys I would, and I will. It's just at the moment I'm a bit busy with work, and like I said, I have to specifically take photographs for photogrammetry, and I can only do that when it's cloudy, so I'm restricted in a couple of ways at the moment. But like I said, I want to show it to you guys because it's being used more and more in games and even film work now. So it's a good skill to know. Yeah, so this is a problem when I start doing multiples here. They start going out of alignment. That's okay, we can just move a couple of them by hand here. Alright. Let's grab a few more and finish off the stairwell, and then these steps should be done. That new Star Wars game that they just showed off at E3 or whatever it was, that they used photogrammetry for that. For the all the assets that they're using in that game. Which is why it looks so realistic. Okay, I'll just adjust these by hand, I think, because like just going out of alignment slightly, so. No, like I said, you're going to be tempted to add all of this in the original stairwell and just export it that way, but don't do it like that. By all means, it's your game, your level, whatever you're making. If that's what you want to do, then hey, have at it. But that's not a good way to do it. You're going to slow down the game engine and use much more memory and polygon than you really need to. Like I said, this is a little fiddly to do, but it's worth it in the long run. We've only got a few more left, so let's take another 4. Okay, now I'm just going to make sure they're not floating above the step here. We'll look at that at the end, I think. These ones need to come down just a little bit. And we've got 1, 2, 3 left to do. So let's grab the last 3. Wait. I'm going to do one more duplicate. Okay. Let's pull you up. And again, this carpet that we're looking at here is actually a separate mesh. It's attached to the step, but it's a separate mesh that's a little higher than the level of the step. It just makes the carpet look more realistic, as opposed to what I've got going on here, which I'm going to replace. That's a good example of it was fine texturing for back when it was in the UDK, but you can see that looks really flat and really unrealistic and really hard-edged, which is not natural. Whereas this one, which was actually a separate mesh, is a lot softer and a lot smoother and a lot more realistic. We don't have that hard edge going on. And the carpet actually sits slightly above the step. Alright, now I'm just going to go through this quickly to make sure that they are actually sitting on the step. Maybe this one can come down just a little bit. They seem to be doing some work outside. I don't know if you guys can hear it on the mic or not. If they don't stop soon, then I will just go and close that window I've got going on behind me. Finish doing these and then I'm going to close that window so I won't stop the stream or anything. I'll just get up from my chair for 2 seconds. Oh, you can't hear any noise? Well, that's good to hear, Sniper Echo. Okay. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. They're doing something next door. And I have my window open a little bit just to let a bit of fresh air in while I work. I'm the same when I go to bed. I always keep my bedroom window open, even just a little bit, even though it's the middle of winter here now. Actually, we might bring one more in for the top of the step here, I think. Simply because, yeah, I think it's healthy to have just a bit of fresh air circulating in a room. That's just me. And I like the cold weather, so it doesn't bother me that it's freezing outside. I do have gains and everything on my mic, so hopefully that cuts a lot of it out for you guys. Okay, so we have all of our brass carpet ties placed. This reflection you're seeing, this is a new thing that was included with 4.16 of the engine. I can't remember what they call it now, but it's a new effect that they've added to the new version of the engine, that sparkle effect that we're seeing. There's no noise at all. I'm surprised. I can hear it plain as day. Yeah, I don't know what they're banging away outside though. But if you can't hear it, guys, then that's all good. If it annoys me too much, I'll still get up and close the window, but yeah. So yeah, this sparkle effect is something new that they added to 4.16, and it adds a nice look to certain objects. It's the same sparkle effect though that we're seeing here on the in the wall, and here it looks less good. You know what I mean? But the sparkle that we can see happening here. Again though, I'll look at adjusting that once we've actually got more lighting in the level, because depending on the amount of light really affects how that looks. So I am just going to close that window, guys. Even though you guys can't hear it, it's really annoying me. I'll be back in 2 secs. Hang on. Okay. All right. So now the window's closed and I can concentrate on what I'm doing. We've got our stairs done. Let's what do we move on to next? Let's finish off the room over here, I think. We'll finish it off in that. Now I want to explain what's going on here. Everything looks very dark and bland because I've done a rebuild on the lighting, but I haven't added a reflection capture upstairs yet, which is this thing. And that's the thing that gives the reflection in anything reflective the proper look. And there's no lighting as well in this room, so that it's making everything look very dark. We're just going to have to live with that until we get a few more pieces in here and I bring a reflection capture up. But again, I'm not going to do that till we get the floor in. But there are a couple of sections here I want to finish off, which are these arch sections. We need to add some wrought iron through the top. So if I look through my list of objects here, I want to bring in one of these wrought iron pieces. Again, these are the pieces we used for the gate down here. And also for the outside gate sections through here. We're just going to be reusing it. Repurposing it for a different type of look in our building. So let's place this We're going to have to scale it up, of course. Let me just get it into position so that we can get our scale correct. It's close enough for what we want. And this just helps to add a bit more interest to these arch sections that we've got going on through the roof. Now I've got to try and remember how I want to do this. I think I need to come up a bit more. You know, I can't for the life of me. I made these originally in the UDK version. I can't for the life of me remember what I did here. I think I'm just going to quickly jump back into the video from UDK and check that. Again, I just want to make sure I know what I'm doing here. This is 6 years ago. You got to forgive me. My memory's not that great. Okay. Stop. Alright, so it does actually go up above the wood and sits down about there. Okay. Alright, so I think it needs to come in a little bit. It's a bit too big. Basically what I'm looking for here is the side of that to match the side of the wrought iron here. It's still just a little bit too big. Okay. And we don't want to have it too low either, otherwise if it was down here people wouldn't be able to walk through the building, through the hallway. I think if we bring it up to maybe the top of our corner pieces here, it'll look more natural. I'm just going to make sure it's sitting in the middle of our wooden arches. Let's duplicate that for the second arch in the background. Oh, I should say the first arch in the foreground. All right. Yep, this one needs to be moved over. Okay. Oops, what else can we work on here? I think maybe we'll put some lights up here.